Okay. Tadvag visargo janatagha viplavo yasmin pratishlokam abhaddhavatyapi namanyanantasya yasho ankitani yat shrinvanti gayanti grananti sadhavaha. We'll do one line at a time. Tadvag visargo janatagha viplavo
Tadvag visargo janataga viplavo
yasmin pratishlokam abhaddhavatyapi
yasmin pratishlokam abhaddhavatyapi
namani anantasya yasho ankitani yat
namani anantasya yasho ankitani yat
shrinvanti gayanti grananti sadhavaha.
shrinvanti gayanti grananti sadhavaha.
Wanna volunteers recite Mataji? And
Can I try this?
yeah, please do.
Tadvag visargo janataga viplavo
Tatva visargo janatagha viplavo
yasmin pratishlokam abhaddhavatyapi
yasmin pratishlokam abhaddhavatyapi
namani anantasya yasho ankitani yat
namanyanantasya yasho ankitani yat
shrinvanti gayanti grananti sadhavaha.
shrinvanti gayanti grananti sadhavaha.
Thank you, Mataji.
Right, thank you. Anybody else?
I can try, Mataji. It's
Yes,
going to be a bit challenging.
Please go ahead, Prabhu.
Yeah. Tatvak visarga janata aghas viplavaha
Tadvag visargo janatagha viplavo
yasmin prati shlokam abhaddhavati api
yasmin pratishlokam abhaddhavatyapi
namani anantasya yasha antikani yat
namanyanantasya yasho ankitani yat
shrinvanti gayanti grananti sadhava
shrinvanti gayanti grananti sadhavaha. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, Hari Hari. Anybody else? Okay, we'll go ahead with the translation. Yeah, word to word and translation, please.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, please go ahead.
That vak, vocabulary, visargaha, creation, janata, the people in general, agha, sins, viplava, revolutionary, yasmin, in which, pratishlokam, each and every stanza, abhaddhavati, irregularly composed, api, in spite of, namani, transcendental names, etc., anantasya, of the unlimited Lord, yashaha, glories, ankitani, depicted, yat, what, shrinvanti, do hear, gayanti, do sing, grananti, do accept, sadhavaha, the purified men who are honest. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you. And translation, please.
Hare Krishna. On the other hand, the literature, which is full of descriptions of the transcendental glories of the name, fame, forms, pastimes, etc., of the unlimited Supreme Lord, is a different creation. full of transcendental words directed toward bringing about a revolution in the impious lives of this world's misdirected civilization. Such transcendental literatures, even though imperfectly composed, are heard, sung, and accepted by purified men who are thoroughly honest. Hare Krishna.
Hari Hari. Thank you. Looking at this. It's a big report. We will read at least a part of the report and then we'll start the discussion. Yeah, somebody please start the report.
It is a qualification of the great thinkers to pick up the best even from the worst. It is said that the intelligent man should pick up nectar from a stalk of poison, should accept gold even from a filthy place, should accept a good and qualified wife even from an obscure family, and should accept a good lesson even from a man or from a teacher who comes from the untouchables. These are some of the ethical instructions for everyone in every place without exception. But a saint is far above the level of an ordinary man. He is always absorbed in glorifying the Supreme Lord, because by broadcasting the holy name and the fame of the Supreme Lord, the polluted atmosphere of the world will change. And as a result of propagating the transcendental literatures like Srimad Bhagavatam, people will become sane in their transactions. While preparing this commentation on this particular stanza of Srimad Bhagavatam, we have a crisis before us. A neighboring friend, China, has attacked the border of India with a militaristic spirit. We have practically no business in the political field, yet we see that previously there were both China and India, and they both lived peacefully for centuries without ill feeling. The reason is that they lived those days in an atmosphere of God consciousness, and every country over the surface of the world was God-fearing, pure-hearted, and simple, and there was no question of political diplomacy. There is no cause of quarrel between the two countries, China and India, over land which is not very suitable for habitation. And certainly there is no cause for fighting on this issue. But due to the age of quarrel, Kali, which we have discussed, there is always a chance of quarrel on slight provocation. This is due not to the issue in question, but to the polluted atmosphere of this age. Systematically, there is propaganda by a section of people to stop glorification of the name of the name and fame of the world, fame of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, there is a great need for disseminating the message of Srimad Bhagavatam all over the world. It is the duty of every responsible Indian to broadcast the transcendental message of Srimad Bhagavatam throughout the world, to do all the supermost good as well as to bring about the desired peace in the world. Because India has failed in her duty by neglecting their responsible work, there is so much quarrel and trouble all over the world. We are confident that if the transcendental message of Srimad Bhagavatam is received only by the leading men of the world, certainly there will be a change of heart, and naturally the people in general will follow them. The mass of people in general are tools in the hands of modern politicians and leaders of the people. If there is a change of heart of the leaders only, so certainly there will be radical change in the atmosphere of the world. We know that our honest attempt to present this great literature conveying transcendental messages for reviving the God consciousness of the people in general and spiritualization, the world as atmosphere is fraught with many difficulties. Our presenting this matter in adequate language, especially a foreign language, will certainly fail, and there will be so many literary discrepancies despite our honest attempt to present it in the proper way. But we are sure that with all our faults in this connection, the seriousness of the subject matter will be taken into consideration, and the leaders of society will still accept this due to his being an honest attempt to glorify the Almighty God. When there is fire in a house, the inmates of the house go out to get help from the neighbors who may be foreigners, and yet without knowing the language of the victims of the fire express themselves, and the neighbors understand the need, even though not expressed in the same language. The same spirit of cooperation is needed to broadcast this transcendental message of Srimad Bhagavatam throughout the polluted atmosphere of the world. After all, it is a technical science of spiritual values, and thus we are concerned with the technique and not with the language. If the techniques of this great literature are understood by the people of the world, there will be success.
Thank you, Prabhu. You'll get special blessings tonight for reading this long purport. Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah. And yeah, that actually gives the gist of this. So we'll explain the sloka and then categorize the theme of the purport, and then we'll take the reflections. Okay. The context of the sloka is Narada Muni is explaining how it's important to glorify the Lord adequately. And in the previous verse, he was saying all those words which do not have any glorification of the Lord, they are like garbage and attract crows. But those words which has glorification of the Lord are like clear water that attracts swans. So in that context, he's saying that those words that are glorifying Hari has a very unique feature. They change the heart. They bring revolution in the heart. That's one. Second thing is, though those words are not composed perfectly, they will still bring the change that is expected. And it is because the words are about the subject matter that is absolute, that is Krishna. So this is what Narada Muni was saying to Vyasadeva. We'll go word to word, one by one in the sloka, and you'll be able to relish that better. Tadvag visargo janatagha viplavo. That kind of vak. Vak is speech. Which kind of speech? That has the transcendental subject matter. So Tatvag Visargo. Visarga, Sarga and Visarga. Visarga is creation. Right? Janata Agha. Agha is sinful. Janata or people. People who are busy with sinful activities. Viplavo is a revolution. Yeah. So that kind of speech which has, glorification of the words of the Lord. Visargo, it can create in the people who are involved in sinful activities, a revolution. So it creates revolution in the people who are involved in sinful activities. Yasmin, in that kind of speech, Pratislokam, every stanza of description, Abhaddavatyapi, irregularly composed, not perfectly done. So that kind of speech which is glorifying the Lord, and every slokam, every stanza of that glorification, even if it is imperfectly composed, will bring revolution in the people who are leading a sinful life or who are conducting impious activities. Namani anantasya, namani, that transcendental name, fame, activities, they are anantasya, they are unlimited. Yasho ankitaniyat, and they depict yasha, the glories of the Lord's name, fame, activities. Yet, so this kind of literature is Shranvanti, heard, Gayanti, recited, Grananti, accepted by who? Sadhavaha, those men who are purified and are honest. So this literature, which has transcendental name, fame, and activities of the Lord that are heard, recited, and accepted by the purified men, even though composed imperfectly, can bring revolution in the heart of the people who are leading impious lives. So that is the potency of the subject matter, which is Lord Krishna, his name, fame, and qualities. It brings a change in the heart, number one. And number two, though they are perfectly, imperfectly composed, that literature still has its efficacy because it is about the absolute truth, Lord Krishna. Yeah, and these are sung, heard, and accepted by these sadhus. So these three are described in this shloka. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada elaborates the same thing, how the current situation is filled with tension, sins, war, impious activities, and how Srimad Bhagavatam, which is composed of glorification of the Lord, can actually bring the change in the heart of the people. So he was giving the example how India and China were neighbors before. But because of the impiety, because of the influence of Kali Yuga and the impiety, impious mentality of the people, they became enemies. Though they became enemies, there is a solution. If they hear the message of Srimad Bhagavatam, then their heart will be changed and they will not be enemies anymore. And for the people's heart to change, and if the people, to influence the people, the leader's heart has to change. So Srila Prabhupada was emphasizing how it is important that the leaders hear Srimad Bhagavatam, so their heart can change, so they can influence the people in general, and so they can be friends again. And Srila Prabhupada also is acknowledging, mentioning that his presentation may not be very much perfect since it is his secondary language. He's humbly saying that he's not qualified, but because his intention is to glorify the Lord, he's very much confident that the expected result will take place if Srimad Bhagavatam is broadcasted. So that's what was said in the purport. Okay, so that's about, I'm gonna stop sharing this. Yeah, so that's about the sloka, about the potency of the topics of Lord Hari. They change the heart. And when we are trying to broadcast that, even though we are not able to present it perfectly, still the speaker and the hearer can get the benefit if their intention is simply to glorify. So that's even more wonderful. That is super potent. I'll pause there. I'll see if you have any reflections, questions.
Mataji, the thought I was getting is it's so true in the sense that, at least for myself, I can speak that I'm so sinful in that way. And just getting into the, process of trying to listen and hear and being part of it, even though I'm still sinning a lot, but at least the thought process is there that, oh, you're sinning, you're at least more conscious about that, the sin that I'm performing, trying to improve on that. And the reactions and the acceptance with others and things like that. So that's the kind of thought process I was getting so I thought, yeah, indirectly it is kind of working, right? Of what it says. Maybe, I'm still a lot of with sins and, things that the anarthas that I have, but at least it has an effect that, at least that the thought process is there to change that anartha or evolve from that anartha. No.
Yeah, that's how it starts, right? Acknowledging it and having a desire to change it, and maybe a little bit of effort here and there to do that, right? That's how, that's how it starts to change. And gradually, we hope that it takes over and then will give us desired change as promised. Yes, Prabhu, that's good. Thank you. And I was thinking in my mind, how does it bring revolution in the heart? See, that's the whole theme, right? How is it bringing? How does the topic of Lord Hari bring revolution in the heart? Yeah, I was thinking two things. I'll let you speak if you have any reflections. How does it bring revolution in the heart?
Thinking, sorry, Mataji.
Yeah, yeah, I was thinking, see, whatever thoughts of I and my are there, we are kind of so much absorbed in the thoughts of I and my. And but when the topics of Lord Hari come, all those I and my gradually get dovetailed to Hari Krishna. And gradually over a period of time, the I and my are not capital I and my anymore, but a little I and my because they are all Krishnized. So the transformation takes place like that as we continuously hear the topics of Hari. And the second thing is, when we hear about the glorious qualities of Lord Hari, his descriptions, his pastimes, wonderful pastimes, the desire within us to reciprocate with that wonderful sweet Lord, a droplet of that may start happening. And slowly, as we continue to hear, that droplet would become a drop and then it gets bigger. So that way, a spiritual desire is getting big to reciprocate with sweet Lord Bhagavan than the material desire that was there before to reciprocate with everything around, everyone around in a materialistic way. So that's how the revolution is happening gradually. Lord Hari and his topics, they purge out. First, Krishnization happens, and then after that, they purge out anything I and my and material, and just spiritualize our whole self. Revolutionary. Yeah.
The thought process starts to change.
Yeah. And yes, thought process starts to change. Very beginning. That's how the revolution starts. Yes. All right, Prabhu. Thank you. And we will go to the bhajan. What we can do is we will sing bhajan one time. And what I was trying to do is to use this time to answer both of your questions. Praveen Prabhu asked yesterday, what are those 6 falls, 6 urges? And Josna Devi Mataji had that question the day before, the evening before, about, Lord Krishna, pure devotee is in direct touch with Lord Krishna. Then what about us? How can we be in touch with pure devotee? How can we get the association of pure devotee? That was the question. So I thought I will say something here which can cover those two answers. But before that, I think we will sing the bhajan one time. What we can do is, I'm thinking, yeah, I will post this in Panchanga Bhakti. So after each sloka and reading the translation, we can read this part. That way it blends well and you will be able to appreciate this better. I'm posting this now in Panchanga Bhakti. Oh, hey Vaishnava Thakur. I've been thinking of this song, this bhajan for past 2 days. Okay, I posted it. You may please take a look at that. And yes, I start singing the bhajan translation, one verse at a time. Yes, please.
Yeah. If anybody would like to lead it, that would be nice.
Can I, Prabhu?
Yes, Mataji, you would like to do it? Yes.
Yeah, I'll
Please
try.
go ahead. Yes, yes, Mataji, please, absolutely.
Hare Krishna. O he Vaishnava Thakura, Dayara Sagara, He Dasi Karuna Kori.
Oh, hey Vaishnava Thakura, Doyara Sagara, Vedase Karuna Kori.
He Vaishnava Thakura, Dayara Sagara, Edase Karuna Kori.
Oh, hey Vaishnava Thakura, Doyara Sagara, Idase Karuna Kori.
Diya Pada Chaya, Sudhaya Maya, Tumar Charana Dori. Diya Pada Chaya, Sudhaya Maya, Tumar Charana Dori.
Translation, somebody please.
O Venerable Vaishnava, devotee of Krishna, O ocean of mercy, be merciful unto your servant. Give me the shade of your lotus feet and purify me. I hold on to your lotus feet.
Thank you. Mataji. So the question was, how can we associate with pure devotee? When we hear these, taking shelter of your lotus feet, you are my shelter. These are there, they are wonderful when we really understand what they mean and the depth of it. But in practical terms, how can we associate with pure devotee? So if you look at the first one, please let me float in the ocean of your mercy. I'm reading from the Panchanga Bhakti. Please let me float in the ocean of your mercy as you purify my existence with your words and qualities. So this is how we associate with pure devotees. By their instructions. When they are instructing us, and with the qualities that they carry. Spark absence of material qualities, and they're full of spiritual qualities. So when we hear these pure devotees speaking, either in the books or in the audio, and when we see the qualities that they have, these two things influence us when we think of that pure devotee. Yeah. So with the words they speak and with the instructions they give, they engage us in the service, in bhakti. And that purifies our existence. If we are not engaging in bhakti, under their guidance and instructions, then we would be doing some karmic thing. If we are not doing bhakti, we would be doing karma. So the doing karma is impure and doing bhakti is pure, purifying. So that doing bhakti is dependent on the instructions of the pure devotee. And that's why we are calling purifying the existence, because the pure devotee instructs us on how to do bhakti. Yeah. So this is the first paragraph here. When it says, O ocean of mercy, be merciful unto your servant. Give me the shade of your lotus feet. Shelter. Under the shelter, what do we get? We get the words instructions and imbibe the qualities that they have. That's what we get. And thus, that's how we get purified. Yeah, so that's how we associate with pure devotee. This is first paragraph, and we'll move on. Next one, please.
Sorry.
Chaya Begado. Please go ahead.
Chaya dosha shodhi, chaya guna deho dasi.
Chaya
Chaya
Begado.
domi, chaya dosha shodhi, chaya guna deho dasi. Chaya sat sanga deho hai amara, Boshichi Sandera Shi.
Chaya
Chaya
Satsanga.
Sanga
Deho
Deho
Amara.
Boshichi Sandera Shi.
Translation, please.
Teach me to control my 6 passions, rectify my 6 faults, bestow upon me the 6 qualities, and offer unto me the 6 kinds of holy association.
Thank you, Prabhu. And Praveen Prabhu, are you available? May or may not be.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
Mataji.
Yeah. So, do you think you can read the rest of it, Prabhu?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, please go ahead. The 6 passions are?
The 6 passions are those pertaining to words, mind, anger, and the tongue, the stomach, and the genitals. The 6 faults are overeating, attachment to material things, inability to follow regulative principles, sense gratification, useless ideal talk, and impure habits. The 6 positive qualities are enthusiasm in practicing devotional service, firm faith in devotional process, a strong desire to attain prema bhakti, a favorable service attitude, avoidance of non-devotees, and appreciation of company of devotees. The 6 methods of association are to go to an assembly of devotees, to invite devotees into one's home, to discuss and hear devotional topics, to take the Mahaprasada of devotees, and to offer Mahaprasada to devotees. Hare Krishna.
Right. So those are the things. The 6 passions, urges, and 6 faults that were mentioned. The first 2 things, they're more like don'ts in bhakti. If we don't do those things, then our bhakti will flow nicely. The third one are more like do's. If we do these things, then the bhakti will flow nicely. The fourth one is more like do's and the result of not doing the don'ts and doing the third one, the do's. Interaction with the devotees. This is what we do overall in bhakti. This is how we practice. This is all mentioned in Upadeshamrita, but this is given here in a nutshell. So how is it that we are cultivating this in the association of a pure devotee? I'm reading from Panchanga Bhakti. See, O Vaishnava Thakura, yes, I want to be free of the 6 urges. It's not like we are trying to get rid of these urges on our own. We could do that. We could do that and we may be successful in doing it. But if we are linking ourselves with a prayer to a Vaishnava Thakura, then when the result is successful, then we are safe. We see that the success is because of the prayer to the Vaishnava Thakura. If we don't involve a pure devotee in our attempts to get better, and if we kind of do it on our own approach, then we may end up with a mentality of doing and getting successful, that kind of mentality. But the whole point is to link up ourselves with Parampara. So that's why we want to get rid of the unwanted things through a prayer to the Vaishnava. That's number one. And number two, when we are praying the pure devotees and thinking of them, it will be very clear of the spiritual qualities they have and the material qualities they don't have. So when we think of them, we imbibe their spiritual qualities and we lose the taste for anything material that we have. So that is also a way of associating with pure devotees. And that's why the prayer is starting as O He Vaishnava Thakura. It's a dialogue. It's a dialogue, a prayerful dialogue between us and a pure devotee. Yeah. So in that dialogue, we are expressing our desire. Yes, I want to be free of these 6 urges. And please liberate me from these 6 urges as you are. So he is, pure devotee is free of these urges. And I mentioned the urges there. And then next one is, yes, I want to get better. So reinforcing that we have a desire that we want to get better. And then appealing to the pure devotee that we want to get better. And being clear of, how we want to get better, following the instructions that they gave us. So that's how our prayer can be a dialogue with a pure devotee, meditating upon their instructions, and then simultaneously contemplating on the depth of the prayer, so we can be close to the results. That's what happens in these Vaishnava bhajans actually. Superficially, they all look like words only. And sometimes, yes, they may be meaningful, but there is a big depth in these prayers. Okay, so that's the method and depth of praying. That's what we talked about so far. And to answer the questions, those are the passions and faults that we want to get rid of. And the 6 positive qualities they are mentioned here. Those are the things that we want to imbibe. And the last one is the way we want to associate with the devotees. Those are the instructions of how we should associate with the devotees. Yeah, Praveen Prabhu, those are the things. 6 passions, faults.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, right. The next one, please.
एकाकी आमार नाही पाया बार हरिनाम संकीर्तने
एकाकी
आमार
नहीं पाया
बाल
हरिनाम
संकीर्तने तुमी कृपा कोरी श्रद्धा बिंदु दिया देह कृष्ण नाम धाने
तुमी कृपा
कोरी श्रद्धा बिंदु दिया देह कृष्ण नाम धाने.
Translation.
I do not
I
find.
do not.
Sorry, go ahead, Mother.
Go ahead, Prabhu. Yeah.
I do not find the strength to carry on alone the Sankirtan of the holy name of Hari. Please bless me by giving me just one drop of faith and with which to obtain the great treasure of the holy name of Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Yeah, this is one way of associating with pure devotee. The faith that they have in the holy name. So when we hear about them and when we hear from them, especially when we hear from them, read from them, the faith that they have in the holy name will slowly get instilled within us over a period of time. That is also a way of associating with pure devotee. Yeah. And and also they give us the instructions of how to serve the holy name. That's a big, big treasure. If we can pay attention to that, if we can receive them, and if we can implement exactly as they say, those instructions, then they are giving us the treasure of Krishna now. So these are the two ways, the faith they have and the instructions they give on serving the holy name. These are the ways to associate with pure devotees. Yeah, next one, please.
कृष्णा से तोमार कृष्ण दीते पार तोमारा शक्ति आचे
Krishna
से तोमार
Krishna
दीते पार तोमारा शक्ति आचे आमी तो कंगना कृष्ण कृष्ण बोली धाई तव पाचे पाचे आमी तो कंगना कृष्ण कृष्ण बोली धाई तव पाचे पाचे.
Translation.
Krishna is yours. You have the power to give him to me. I am simply your servant, running behind you, shouting, Krishna, Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hari Hari. Yeah, that's the final one. Because pure devotee is in direct connection with Krishna, and we cannot be in direct connection with Krishna. We are dependent on pure devotee to get Krishna. And how is he helping us to get Krishna? As we just described from the first one, it is by giving mercy, giving the words and instructions, and he has strong spiritual qualities. He's filled with spiritual qualities that we could imbibe, like the faith in the holy name and the instructions to chant the holy name. Sharalata, simplicity, and Sharanagati, and Preeti. These are all the qualities, spiritual qualities that are present in a pure devotee. So if we are thinking, if we are praying, pure devotee, all these qualities that they have will be imbibed by us, and that's how Krishna is slowly given to us. Yeah. And the absence of the material qualities, absence of these urges and falls. When they don't have those urges and falls, when we are thinking of a pure devotee who does not have these material urges and falls, naturally we are getting to his bandwidth, to his frequency, to a desire of not having these material urges and falls. And then we pray and we put the attempts, and then slowly we will be free of those material urges and falls too. So in this way, if we associate with pure devotee, with his spiritual qualities, with his words and instructions and faith, then slowly he is giving us Krishna through these things. And that's why we are running behind these pure devotees who can give us Krishna. Yeah, I'm going to pause here. Please contemplate on this later, and I posted in Sharanagati also. And hopefully you will find more than what we have, than what we are able to discuss now. All right. I'm going to pause here. But again, we'll stay for 2 more minutes. I'll hear from you, whatever you have to say. The way to associate with pure devotees.
Mataji, in the qualities slide, I thought that slide that talks about the 6 qualities, I think my eye caught on the words
This
of firm faith.
enthusiasm, is that the enthusiasm?
I mean, my eyes
Devotion.
caught on the firm faith in devotional processes.
Oh, okay. Yes, yes.
So even though, you know, we may feel
Mm.
that we are not progressing enough or not moving, but I thought having the faith that whatever we are doing, it's moving us in the right direction and moving us closer, you know, step by step. Even if it might take longer, but we are moving there. So having that firm faith, so that somehow caught my eyes.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. Full faith that we are heading the right way, though we will not perceive it in a big way now. Yes, Prabhu. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. If nobody has anything else to say, we can pause here. Yeah. We'll pause then. ठीक है. Yeah. Okay. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Bhakta Vinod Thakur ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you all. Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare